Hey everybody, I'm here with Josh Isaac, a good friend of mine from the foundation. Josh is the founder of MySky, and he's got another awesome blog that I pointed you guys to last week at joshuaisaac.com. What I'd hope to do today is to get you through the biggest challenge people have with this and where we see most people get hung up, which is digging deeper. Getting through that first level problem once you're hearing it, to finding actually like what the real root is and what the biggest pain point is under there that you can actually solve, with reasonable scope and isn't going to be too huge of a project for you for your first software product. So with that, how you doing, Josh?
Good. Let's see how this goes. I haven't done ID extraction in a while, so we'll see if I can extract on you. I'm pumped.
I'm sure you're going to do a good job. So yeah, I'm going to treat this like a normal call, and Josh is just going to ask me some questions. I know he's going to be awesome at this. So in the end, we'll point out, some of the things he did a good job at. So, all right, go for it, man.
Cool. How you doing, Carl?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, Carl, tell me a bit about your business. What kind of business do you run?
I run a software business that helps physical therapy practices manage their business metrics.
Awesome. And how's that going for you?
Yeah, it's going pretty well. Some ups and downs and some things that are a little frustrating and some things that are, awesome and learning a ton, but yeah, it's overall good.
How long have you been running it for?
Well, we launched in April, so I'd say like officially since April.
Okay, so it's actually pretty new then.
Pretty new.
So, and what do you tell me? I just want to really get an understanding of what you do in a day to day. I don't really know much about your business. I know a little bit about what it does, but can you tell me a bit more about what you do on a day to day basis in your business?
Sure. I mean, every day is different. So my focus is to really, I have three main things that I handle. The first is the product and making sure I'm building and have an awesome product. So it's managing developers. It's defining what that product should look like and what the next features are going to be. So yeah, product's one arm. The next is customer support, or dealing with my customers and keeping them happy and making sure they're happy and listening to them. And then the last part is sales and marketing. I guess sales and marketing could be split in two. There's sales, which deals with, prospecting and then, giving demos and closing sales. And there's one, marketing really to me means, all the other efforts that I do to generate leads and to help people learn that clinic metric exists. So there's a lot of things I do under marketing. And that's
Cool.
where I'd like to spend more time on marketing if I could.
You like some more time? Okay, that's awesome. So I'm just writing this down now because I just want to really make sure I internalize what you're doing. So you spend basically your time in four different categories. You have product, which is managing developers, customer support, which is just dealing with all your customers, your current ones, and then you have sales and then marketing. That's what you said?
Yeah, that, at a high level, that pretty much covers it.
Cool. What do you like in a day to day? What does it look like when you wake up, you get to work? What do you start with?
For me, the first thing I do when I wake up is I look at my goals for the week. I have three, usually three big goals, and I try to work on those first. Usually they relate to marketing. Sometimes they relate to product.
Okay.
But then I have more routine tasks as well. And my more routine tasks happen to do with, kind of like managing my sales process, managing my VAs, managing my development, and implementing the new features and releases and stuff. So that's like my more repetitive stuff. And then, the bigger initiatives are, like the bigger projects I have are like new things, like working on joint venture deals, or I don't know, working on webinars, or creating a content marketing strategy, or like what do I do next type of things. So they're bigger things.
Okay. What are you in flow with? Like what's going really well right now in your days?
I think the structure of my days are really good. I finally, like, what I feel really good about is like I wake up at 5, which is kind of extreme, but for me, I feel that that's I'm most productive in the morning. So I wake up at 5, and during the first 2 hours of the day, before I even look at any email or anything, I kind of focus on my big, my big project tasks, the things I want to move forward, and that like totally helps me. And I feel like that's great. So I think working on those things, that's the highest leverage I can have, and that's really what I want to be focusing most of my time on, and I feel good about those hours.
Cool. And then if you look at product, customer service, sales, marketing, which one of those is the most frustrating to you right now?
Well, I mean, a lot of it's frustrating, so it's hard for me to pinpoint.
What comes to your mind right when I ask you what's most frustrating from this last week? What comes to mind first?
I'd say sales, the sales process, probably.
Why is that?
Well, it's very repetitive. There's a lot that goes into it, but it's pretty routine, and there's a lot of stuff that is kind of tedious that happens there, and anything that's routine I get bored of quickly. It's just my personality. So yeah, I don't like the stuff that gets routine, and I like to outsource it and outsource as much as I can and automate as much as I can. And I'm frustrated about some things that I can't really automate. I'm also frustrated that because of how tedious it is, and because I don't like it, I don't do as good of a job at it as I really kind of want to be doing. I feel like I could do a much better job at following up with leads and things like that, and and just basically making more sales like I totally could be. I just started kind of launching and doing that now, and I am making more week to week now, but even still I could do a lot better, and it's hard because I'm focused on so many other things, and it's hard because there's so much like tedious like process like tasks to keep up with there. So
so you're anything else you're frustrated with
right now? I mean, that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, I'd say like support can get annoying sometimes. That can get really annoying. Most of it's nothing that you can really affect. I mean, there's ways I can improve that. I know how, but the majority of my support calls have to do with people asking me like, how to bookmark the fucking site, which is, it drives me completely insane.
Okay.
So like, yeah, I'm dealing with it all here, like that's what happens when you're doing this on your own at first. You deal with just about everything. So
it can be pretty overwhelming, or pretty time consuming and draining at times, eh?
Oh yeah, you know it.
Know you feel. So we're looking at, it sounds like there's a lot of frustration. So it sounds like there's some support frustrations. I'm sure there's product frustrations, but I just want to be sure, like, what do you think affects your bottom line or your business moving forward the most? Like, what would be the biggest, your biggest frustration, and one that affects your business the most? Would you say that is this the marketing and sales frustration, or would you say it's something else?
No, I would say it is the sales frustration, because
okay.
I would say it is because if things were like, if that was in a super solid process, then I'd be able to follow up with people more diligently.
Okay.
And that would easily lead to more deals. And it also, like, if it were more streamlined, then it would free me up to spend more time on marketing, which is really what, really what drives the business. So
cool. So you feel if you had that problem solved, so aka had your sales more streamlined, you could close more deals, which would give you more revenue as well. You feel that you could spend more time on marketing, which inherently gives you more deals to close. So grow your business quite a bit, it sounds like.
I do. I think that's true.
Okay. So what's your current process right now? Let's dive into what are the activities that you do right now to complete a sale? What is that process?
To complete a sale, or just like, well,
yeah. Tell me a bit about you're frustrated that the process isn't automated now. You think it can be done better, and you can be making more sales. What does it look like right now in your business? What is that process currently?
let's see. So, I mean, my main strategy for sales right now is outbound. So it's sending emails to practice owners that fit the criteria that I have found that happens to really, need my product. So how it works is I have a couple VAs that help me. The process starts with them. The first guy's name is Fahad, and he basically creates lists for me. He creates the lists and sends them on to Kimberly, who, well, actually, if I'm more detailed, he sends them to me, I send them to Kimberly, but I mean, it's not really a big deal. I could have them send it to each other, which would save a step, but whatever. Anyway, so he sends these email lists to her, and then she puts together a campaign for the week, and we email, the targeted people we want to go after each day. They're one-on-one emails, one-to-one person, and we're doing research on each company, so they're all personalized, and we're going after the people that we think need the product, or or most likely could help or benefit from it. So she does that and sends those emails, and then the next day I wake up and I see the emails have gone out, and sorry, that's my dog. Anyway, sorry about that, threw me off. Yeah, so where was I? So yeah, so she
you wake up and you see emails have gone out.
I see the emails have gone out. Usually some people respond. I personally respond to each one. If they respond, and I set reminders for myself to follow up with the people who responded, just to make sure that, like, I mark down that they responded, and I see if I make like a note that I should follow up with them. So I do that, and then that process is fine. I'd say that process is perfectly fine. But the part where things get crazy is, those people then, if it works out or whatever, I try to, my plan is to try to schedule a discovery call with them where I ask them a few questions for like 5 to 10 minutes and see if it's, a fit. If it is, then we schedule a demo, then I close them. That's not a huge problem, other than the fact that I'm giving more and more demos, and that takes a lot of my time these days, but that's a one-on-one type thing. But yeah, like where the craziness comes in for me is, so Kim also follows up with people who do not respond to the emails. And so a week after we send an email to somebody, she goes back and sends a follow-up email if they didn't respond. So she goes into my Gmail, searches, looks through all my emails that we sent out, sees who responded, and if they did not respond, she sends them a follow-up. And we do that every week until they do respond one way or another. And yeah, so that happens. Or actually, no, she only does it once. She goes back and sends one follow-up, and then we don't do it again. We should be doing it more than once, but it's just so tedious to keep track of it all that we just freaking can't. So we only send one follow-up if they don't respond, and if they respond from that, then great. Then it goes into my process, and if it goes into my process where they respond, I respond to them, and it's fine. And I have ways of keeping track of that. Like, that's pretty easy. But yeah, I'd say the biggest gaps that frustrate me are like the fact that we're not following up with people more than once, and the fact that we're using this software Tout app to like send these emails, and we're seeing who opened them, or we can, but we don't even use that, and I don't even follow up with calls because I'm so bogged down by the rest of it that I just can't do that. I don't even have time, or like I don't have a process for that. So
do you have a process for what, sorry?
So I should be following up with more people, in essence. Like, I should be following up with people who don't respond to the first, follow-up that we send. Like, we send one email, then we send a follow-up if they didn't respond, and then they're done. We don't send it again. Unless somebody from their company responded to us, then it goes into my flow where I pay attention to it every day, which is fine. It's just tedious. It takes me a lot of time, but whatever. It works. But yeah, the other part that we don't do is, like, there are a lot of people who open emails and click links, and we should be calling them, but I'm not, because I'm just overwhelmed with everything else, and it's not super easy for me to do. It just is. It's just dealing with all this is just hectic, and it's just a big grind. It's a lot of work.
I can feel it, man. That's a ton of work, and it must feel like you're slipping some sales through the cracks because you can't deal with it all, right, and can't do it optimally.
No, absolutely, I am. Yeah, I'm definitely missing out on some things here.
So is this how do you feel when you talk about this? Is this something you really want to get solved in your business?
I do. It sucks. Like, it really pisses me off, honestly, because I don't feel like there's so many reasons why. Like, I don't feel like I can outsource this to somebody without having a solid process, because I know the process sucks, right? And so personally, it's kind of a personal problem, honestly. Like, I don't feel comfortable outsourcing to somebody until I feel like the process is under control. And it's not. Like, so I handle a lot of stuff myself that I could be outsourcing if the process were better. But yeah, it sucks. Like, and I know that if I were following up on top of that, like, if these follow-ups were happening, that, like, I would totally be making more sales for sure and helping more people. Totally. Yeah.
I guarantee this is a big pain in many startup software entrepreneurs' businesses.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure it is.
So I feel like this is your biggest pain in your business right now, and probably the most critical one to solve if you want to keep growing, from what you said.
Yeah, I agree.
And where it sounds like you're frustrated, I was going to repeat, this is you're fine when Fahid sends the list to Kimberly, and then she puts it together for a campaign. She emails up, you kind of wake up and you see the emails that have gone out, you respond, and then you write out your reminders, and you write a note to follow up, and that's all good for you. And then kind of where it starts getting crazy is after you set up the demos and a discovery call on the demos, and then you have to work on following up with the non-responded emails, so the people you haven't set up for demos, all that sequence of trying to just get everyone no one's slipping through, and everyone that hasn't had a demo, like all of them follow up. That's really, really frustrating for you, because you're not following up with people more than once right now, because you just don't have a system to do it, right?
Yeah, I don't.
And it makes you feel bogged down.
Yeah.
What do you? I don't know if you want to go into the solution now, but do you have ideas of how you could solve it? Like, what would be your ideal solution to this?
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, like, I'm currently using ToutApp, right? And there's a lot of problems I have with ToutApp. I think that ToutApp does a great job in a couple things. Like, they make it possible for me to send emails, out and see who I sent them to and track if they open them and click them or whatever. But it's really like the way to look at that is, and the way to review that data is so difficult, and like really just doesn't work well. Their reporting on what you just did doesn't really work well. So that makes it really difficult to follow up. Might as well. Yeah, so that makes it really difficult to follow up, because you can't really see what's going on. The other thing is, like, and I mean by phone, because you're seeing who's, like, opening and clicking or whatever, and those people, you should probably try to give them a call, I think, right? So, but with email, it's like, why do I have to have someone manually go in and see if somebody responded, and then if they did, send an email? If they did, then don't do anything. But if they didn't, then send them an email. Like, why does that have to be manual? Like, why can't software be smart enough to see if I send an email, if somebody responds, turn the autoresponder off. But if somebody does not respond, then continue to follow up with them with some sequence of emails that I create.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same thing. Like, kind of like rule-based emails. Like, if person A doesn't respond, this email goes out. When that email goes out, if there's a response, then it comes here. If there's no response, then another email goes out. It's like an automated follow-up system, right?
Yeah, no, that would be huge. It would be huge if that happened. But what's critical is, like, it has to know when to shut it off, because it can't be following up with people who I already talked to or emailed. So there would have to be, like, an easy way for me to go in. If somebody just calls me instead of responds by email, I need an easy way, like, not just like a tedious way of going in and like ToutApp or whatever. Like, I need an easy way to just go look up the person and say, I don't want to send them emails anymore, or anyone else in their company, because I already talked to them. Make a note and move them over in the process to say, they've been contacted. So,
so that might be like, you go into system quickly, you search for Carl. You've just talked to him, so you shut off the sequence now, like just something like that, where you just uncheck him out of the sequence.
There needs to be a manual way to do that, I think. But, like, other than that, like, it should be able to pick up on, if somebody responds to me, don't send them another email. Like, if they respond one way or another, no matter what, like, I don't want the system to send another email, because, the system can't figure out what it said or whatever. So I'd say to stop emailing at that point. But I don't know, man. I mean, it's a tough problem to solve, but I feel like it's, doable. And I think that would save a good amount of time. Like my VA wouldn't have to deal with all that. And I mean, she isn't dealing with all that yet because it's too complicated I mean, it's not too complicated. It's just a pain in the ass. So, oh, sorry, I lost you for a second.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So anything else you would kind of want out of a solution for this problem besides what you mentioned?
I mean, if I could wave my magic wand, I would have somebody do all this for me too, and handle all the follow-ups.
To handle the follow-ups.
Like, the whole process afterwards, which essentially, I understand it needs a human, or I believe it does. It's not something you do with a computer or whatever. Like, you need a person to manage that.
Do you think you need a combination of a person and a software system that can handle it?
The second part?
Yeah, like do you think that you could think that your solution to your problem is just where'd you hear last?
You said, should there be a solution for me following up like software with that part too? And there is. I mean, like any CRM really does that. So that's not really a problem, I don't think. There are parts there, we could talk about CRM all day, like you built one. So, and I think that's fine. There's things that those could do better too, but for me, that's not really the biggest challenge, though. I think that, really it's this follow-up sequence stuff. Like, I think that's...
It's pretty unique, even within CRMs. Not a lot of CRMs have the level that we're talking about.
It's a different piece of software, I think. Yeah. Like, I don't think it needs... Well, I mean, why don't we call this the end of the idea extraction call, and we can talk about what just happened. I
was going to price anchor you.
No. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that next time. So,
okay.
Yeah. So like where we left off here, there's 2 more steps to go for anybody watching this. You need to go through price anchoring, and then you need to ask somebody if they'd pay for the solution and how much they'd pay. And but what Josh did up till that point really gets you pretty farther than we've talked about in our posts or whatever, or my post anyway.
Yeah,
so he got to the root of the pain, and the root of the pain was really the email problem, right? Like not having the email follow-ups or whatever, not having an easy way to do that. And I think that's probably my biggest frustration, because I know it's something that can be solved and isn't solved yet. And so let's break down the call real quick. All right, we're back. So
we're back.
Yeah, so internet problems, but we're back. So I think overall that was a really awesome idea extraction call. Actually, like I felt some things there when I was talking to Josh that, I didn't expect him to take that approach. Some of it was a little different from what I'm used to, but, it was really effective. And what we're going to do now is go into exactly why. So, Josh, first you started off really broad and talking about like my whole business and what it, how it works and what it, it's comprised of, right? Like, why did you do that?
Well, I like the first thing I did, I just want to know what you do, even though I already do. I just wanted to get you talking a bit about what your business is. When do you start it? Just to kind of, it's more just rapport building stuff.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
To develop a little bit of a connection with you. I would have done more if it wasn't a recording. I would have probably talked for 5 minutes with you. And then I just asked you basically what do you do in a day? Like, what are the parts of your business that you have to manage? And I did that because, like, honestly, I think the mindset to have is just be curious. Like, honestly, Carl, what do you do?
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought that your start, like exactly what I was going to say is like you got to learn about what I do overall, like my whole business and how it works and like how it's broken down. And that question did make me feel like you were interested, and it did build rapport, like it really did. So I thought that was cool. The next part what did you do after that? You asked what was the most, or like what was going well, right?
Yeah, so I asked, what your, so you gave me four categories: your business, your product, your customer support, your sales and marketing, then what you had to do in each category. And then I kind of went into what's going well. Just want to give you a positive, so like tell me what's going well for you,
Hmm. And then what's not going well,
and then what's not going well. And then
right?
that's when you start giving me some problems. But you talked a little about some customer support problems. You talked a bit about problems in sales and marketing, and then it really, the thing I started on my sheet here is that you said about like what's really frustrating me is I want to generate more leads. So that was, and honestly, that's like a typical thing everyone's going to say. Like every
Yeah,
business is gonna be
yeah.
like, I want to generate more leads. Like, but that's not the main
So
problem.
that's yeah. So that's this is really important shit
Yeah.
because what he did there was like he scanned the whole thing, he built some rapport, and then he started to kind of break down, like what's most important to me, what goes well, what's my typical day look like, and what's not going well. And if he had started with just like if you just start like what's your biggest challenge with somebody, you're not going to get the same answer as if you actually go through all those steps he just did because the person's not that comfortable with you and they're just going to make something up like it's not going to be true because he basically brought me through my whole day and through my whole business and made me remember all those things. So that was really cool. And then where he got now was like, yeah, generating leads, or not necessarily just generating leads, but not like for me, it was really not losing leads
Hmm.
because I already have them coming and I'm already doing all this work. I don't want to lose them, and that's valuable to me. And I kind of like hinted at that, but I didn't really say it. I just said kind of, yeah, this sales process sucks.
Hmm.
And a lot of people would stop there. And they would say, oh, well, we need to build you and this giant CRM that does everything and handles all your sales and your business. But
Hmm.
the next thing that he did really well was like dig in. So, what did you do to dig in?
Um, so I basically the digging in questions is just ask I asked you like tell me a bit about your sales process. What do you do? And
Yeah.
I remember you said like what, like you don't understand my question. I just repeated it. I was like what do you do for sales? Like just tell me about your process right now. So now I'm getting him just to I was getting you to think about, okay, I know there's a problem there and it sounds like it's your bigger one. Just get you to think about what you do in that day. And I also did ask you like um, I asked you if this is the most frustrating thing to you, and is this the problem that takes away the most from your bottom line of your business. So I just want to make sure I am kind of diving into the right spot because you did
Yeah.
mention some customer support stuff too, and that wasn't the main problem.
Yeah, no, that was good. So, um, what he did there was like he really got me into story mode about the thing, which is something I talk about and Dane talks about too. It's like I got put into story mode because I was telling him exactly like what happens day to day with the sales process and how it works, and how it's frustrating and what's wrong. So so then I kind of went through that and told him the process, and
Hmm.
then like what did you do while I was telling you that? Like, what were you thinking and how were you feeling while I was telling you that whole process?
I was nervous. I just want to make sure I understood it all, so I was writing everything down. I think it's really important. I was like writing down your processes of what you're doing, and then um, and then I started the point of the process that you had a lot of trouble with, and that was on my paper here, that you were only sending one follow-up email because you're first saying, oh, like your VA follows up till they respond, and you're like, oh no, actually she only sends one, and like I hate that. Like we should be sending more, and that's what really frustrates me. So I
Yeah.
started that, and then I found that in your process that was the main thing, and then I just repeated your process back to you so I understood you and I'm on the same page, and then asked you if that's really where you're getting stuck with.
Right. Yeah, no. So that was really cool because like I went through the whole sales process. We got to the end, and then you brought me back there because that was basically the most tedious part, and we really broke it down to that detail,
Hmm.
which is really just like following up. And then he asked me about the solution, which is the next part. We kind of just scratched the surface there. And we did that intentionally because we didn't want this video to be too long. So the next part, go ahead.
I was gonna say one thing too. When you're in the problem, like what's really good to set up the sale of this is like I kind of kicked your knee a little bit and said, you know, it sounds like this is I was basically saying it sounds like this is pretty painful, and in fact, it's actually losing you quite a bit of sales. And then I also brought in a bit of like it's okay. I think everyone has a problem. I said probably a lot of software companies have this problem.
Yeah.
And benefit a lot. So it's like I'm basically kicking your knees, saying that in a nice way, saying that, you know, this is painful and it's hurting your business, and don't worry. There's a lot of more people that probably have this, and it could probably be a solution to build. So and then I want to go into, okay, what is your solution?
Yeah, that's genius. It's true. I felt that for sure, and I wished that I had a solution for it right then. I still do. So if somebody wants to build this, or has an idea of something that I can try out that'll help me with this, let me know. But yeah, no, I think it went great. So we kind of went through this pretty quick, but I think you can learn a lot from what Josh did there. I think that was really, that was a really good example. And the next step is to go through price anchoring and to actually ask if the person would pay you for the problem. So, you know, after this, next week, we'll go through that. That about wraps it up. Do you have anything else to say to everybody?
No, I'm pumped for them to hear this. I'm going to be in Hawaii for a few weeks, so
nice,
I'm looking forward to going there.
Yeah. So anybody who likes this, that sees it from my blog or whatever, definitely go check Josh's blog out again at joshuaisaac.com and sign up for his list too. He puts out some awesome posts.
Yeah.
And yeah, keep us posted on how you're like. It'd be awesome if in the comments you ask questions, like where you know, if you have questions about this, or, you know, tell us your stories about, you know, what happens with your calls and, you know, what you're frustrated with or how you're feeling about them. So
yeah, go, and that's one thing I'll say too. You know, go, you know, when you're on our sites, Carl's or mine, like comment like on the posts. We both love responding and helping people out. So comment, let us know what you're thinking, your action steps, or anything you're stuck with, and we're both really open to doing as much as we can to help you guys through your startup journey and building your businesses. So let us know what we can help you with, and we'll keep going on with it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks, Josh.
See you later. See you
guys. Thanks, guys. See ya.
See you, bro.